Paraclete Recording Studio presents Lead Us Not Into Temptation, a daily study in loyalty for Ash Wednesday to Holy Thursday, by Martin Shannon, read by Martin Shannon.
Preface. The week before Ash Wednesday of 2019, a small number of us from my community made a week-long retreat to prepare for Lent and Easter. Not all of the conversations were about spiritual and liturgical things, of course, but those that spun around these topics were always lively and imaginative, and, for me, sometimes taxing. As much as I enjoy collaboration, I also can find the experience challenging and sometimes even threatening. If nothing else, however, moving through those experiences together is one of the things that community is all about. Though I confess that on more than one occasion I succumbed to the temptation to indulge in the solitude of my room a little longer than necessary. During one of those conversations, I raised the idea of writing a daily devotional for our community on the subject of temptation. At the time, had I known what it would require over the next 6 weeks, I am sure that I would not even have whispered the thought out loud. The first step was to write the introduction in the company of my fellow retreatants. Remember what I just said about my ambivalent relationship with collaboration? So, this volume is dedicated to these hardy collaborators who stood with me from start to finish and who are still doing so. They know who they are. I can only hope they also know how grateful I am. Introduction. Lead Us Not Into Temptation is a daily devotional study for Lent on the subject, or we should say the experience of temptation. Jesus taught us to pray, "Lead us not into temptation," which mysteriously implies that God could, and perhaps sometimes does. At the very least, he allows it. Mark writes that the Spirit actually drove Jesus into the wilderness, where he was tempted by the devil. Would God really do that to me? Would he set up or allow circumstances that would put me in harm's way, in sin's way? I pray not, but if I am Christ's follower, should I not expect to walk with him into the wilderness and to face temptation in my own life? Put the other way around, should I not expect to walk in wildernesses of my own, where Christ will walk with me? In other words, isn't temptation...
Sample complete. Ready to continue?